Do you guys remember how last week Steve Bannon was being interviewed and they were asking him about the whole Trump 2028 thing?
First up, watch our video. You see, and the thing that really annoys me about this, there's so much content out there about Project 2025. There's so much content out there. And the fact that the majority of the American public to this day has no fucking clue about this is really infuriating. We are stubbornly anti-informational in this bitch. We stubbornly don't want to know how anything works. We stubbornly don't want to do anything to even help our fucking selves. But anyway, let me get to my point. So, you watch her video, she talks about the state level plan that the Republicans have been working towards for, frankly, decades now. And it's about, you know, getting to the point where they can when they can basically repeal the 22nd Amendment, which term limits presidents to only 2 terms. And she details a plan for it. You all need to watch her video. But here's my fury and my worry. The Democratic Party, for decades, have been the good governance party, right? Good governance party. Good governance meaning tradition, ethics, honor, morals, the worry about how things look, worry about fairness, that kind of stuff. They worry about independence of agencies and things of that sort. All right? They're the good governance party. They have this hapless deference to members of the other side because they like them got elected. They have this automatic deference to them. They automatically consider them legitimate because they got elected. It has nothing, they don't consider them legitimate because of their ideology or something. They consider them legitimate because they got elected, and they kind of leave the Republican Party space, or they're frankly okay with the Republican Party enacting their agenda if they happen to get control because they got elected. See, that's the good governance party, right? No, you say, okay, what's wrong with that? Well, let me tell you what's wrong with that. The problem with the good governance is not proactive. Good governance is always reactive. Good governance will never, ever stand in the way of a serious push for fascism or Christo-fascist white nationalist state that we see forming. Good governance is always reactive. Good governance is never proactive. Problem, when you're fighting a regime like this one, you cannot be reactive. You have to be proactive. You have to be aggressive. You have to, unfortunately, forget about how things look. You have to, unfortunately, forget about fairness. Unfortunately, to fight fascism and the regime we have now, you have to kind of I hate to say it, I don't know how else to say it, but you have to kind of forget about fairness in terms of fairness to your members, in terms of fairness to your members, in terms of preserving their independence to vote the way they want to or to strike out in any attack they want. To fight fascism, it requires cohesiveness, it requires intention, it requires proaction, it requires insistence. in a sense, you have to kind of be like the incoming, you have to kind of be a little fascistic to fight fascism. I'm sorry. No battle, whether it be civil rights or military, has ever been won by stoicism, has ever been won by just reacting to what an aggressor does. Civil rights has always been fought by those fighting for civil rights. Military battles have all been won by those engaging in the battles. They've always have had to have been willing to be just as violent or just as aggressive or just as ruthless as the side they're fighting. They've had to do so. The problem I have is that good governance, which the Democratic Party is haplessly, reflexively, automatically, subconsciously, and obliviously ruled by, will doom this country. There's so much content out here about Party 2025. There are websites out there about that are tracking what's going on. And the American public still is largely fucking ignorant about it. And I'm sorry, I blame the Democratic Party for a lot of that. Because, you see, they are reactive. They take the cues from whatever the public is telling them, whatever feedback they get from the public. And because the public is largely ignorant of these things, because the public doesn't know how government works, the public has no sense of prolepsis where regard to this fascistic thing is concerned. The public is frankly in denial about what's going on. Democratic Party, being a party that's reactive to the public, will not be, not ever on its own, be ready or be in a position to effectively counter, fight, and or roll back what has been done and what is being done because of their good governance. Good governance sounds good, but good governance is weak. Good governance is flawed. Good governance depends on the other side also being of good governance, fealty, and mindset. If your opposition is not of good governance, fealty, or mindset, you have lost. You are at a disadvantage. This is why I fret so much. This is why I keep criticizing the Democratic Party. And that's why a lot of people are secretly mad with me because they think, oh, I'm making people anxious, I'm making people nervous, I'm getting people upset. And, you know, I'm being hyperbolic, I'm being fatalistic and stuff. I'm being fatalistic because I can see what's happening. The Democratic Party, the Democratic Party has been in government for decades while the Republicans have hatched their Heritage Foundation Federalist Society agenda right in the open, right there in Congress next to them. And the Democrats have done nothing because they've got no impetus to do anything from the public. They're the good governance reactive party. And the public is largely ignorant. And the public is largely ignorant because the Republicans have made it so. And so Democrats have lost the plot already.